All right. Welcome back to another weekend AMA. I apologize if I start sneezing. I apparently am having an allergy attack. It happens from time to time with my cats. Um, so I apologize for that. I sneezed like 20 times in a row. I'll try my best to keep it under control. But welcome to episode 3 of Ask a Dev, the 2019 edition, where every week we answer your guys' questions, talk a little bit about some subjects related to software engineering, provide a little bit of mentoring. So it's a weekly thing. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, follow the channel, and of course, hit that notification bell and like the video. And tell your friends. If you don't have any friends, go find some friends. Tell your friends. All right. And then tell them later. All right. So for those of you who don't know, I started a new job a week ago. So I've finished the very first week at my job, and it has been an interesting time. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and I feel refreshed. I feel I don't want to go into too much about why I personally left my previous role. They were very good to me for the most part. Um, but oftentimes you leave roles for one of two reasons. You leave roles because a better opportunity comes along. It happens. No shame in that. Um, at my previous role, that happened 6 months prior to me leaving them, and I had an offer for a 40% pay bump, and they decided that they wanted to keep me, and so I didn't pursue that offer. And then 6 months later, things didn't work out, right? So it happens. The other con, instead of a better opportunity, is a change of environment. Some of the things that affect you, you start becoming maybe pessimistic about certain things. You start saying that's just the way it is. You start not being the quality of professional that you want to be because of the environment that you're in. And so it's time for a change of environment. So that's sort of what happened with me at the end of the day. And I went on my way. And so I finished the very first week, and um the change in environment has been fantastic for my mental health. Two things have been going on in my life um, that have really been um, good for me in the last couple of weeks. One, I got the puppy. Although the puppy is very time consuming, stressful, and April handles most of that, um, I can honestly say that I have been so happy to have the dog. I am completely stunned. Um, it's cost some time and money, and um, it's been something that has made me smile. Uh, Not to say that I was a miserable person 3 weeks ago, but you know where you just you haven't really, like, you're like, damn man, I feel good. The puppy has done that to for me personally, and that has been a fantastic thing. And it's been a lot of work, and he's a puppy, so he's pissing all over my stuff. He shit in his pen the other day. Right? He's doing puppy things. Um, and it's going to cost a lot of money. He's chewing on some things. For the most part, he's a good dog though. And April's really dealing with the hard work of it, but it has been a fantastic thing for me. I feel so much happier. The other thing is that my previous environment no longer was working for me. It was whenever I work a job after. So here's the thing, guys. If you've worked a job for 6+ months and you don't think you can work it, like, and the idea of working for 2 more years, just 2 more years, like, you had to think, like, could I be here 2 more years? And the idea depresses you, is probably not going to change in the next 2 years. Um, so you can do what you can to try and help change whatever environment was affecting you, or you can go find one that works better for you. So I am definitely in the honeymoon phase of a new job, right? So similar to relationships where everything's fresh and new and exciting, and like you're so in love. Not to say that April and I aren't in love or anything like that, but it's a different sort of love, right? it's a respect and trust based instead of a infatuation and lust based. Not to say that I'm infatuated or lust based on my current role, but you get the analogy. So, um, different environment, and it's been nice. And here's the one thing that is always great about when you go from one role to another, and that people don't really value this as much as they should. Um, so, the truth of the matter is, the people who can job hop are oftentimes the most skilled employees. It's a The reason for it is other organizations recognize their value. They recognize that, damn, we want this guy, we want this girl. They're killing it. Not everyone can job hop. Um, not always successfully. You know what I mean? It's a lot of times you can get like the people job hopping are LeBron Jameses, while the people who are sort of staying at organizations long term, and this is a general statement, not an always statement. I know people don't want me to speak in absolutes, and I'm not. They're more sort of the hey, we keep the bench warm type type of developer. Uh, so anyhow, the point being, one great thing about jumping to a new company is regardless of how seasoned you are, regardless of how novice you are, you will always learn something new. Always, 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 always. Every environment is different. Every organization is different. Every tech stack is different. You'll never ever work in the same exact thing again and again. And so, already in the first week, I've been learning about stuff that I've been meaning to dive deep into, but between buying the house, getting the puppy, um, you know, building courses, YouTube channel, all the usual stuff, I haven't devoted the time. But the change in environment and the stress relief that I've had recently has made me want to do so much. Like I've relit in this last week the passion of, like, you know what I want to do? I want to build a progressive web app. Like, that's exciting. And that's what I've been working on a little bit for this last week. And something new I've been picking up skill wise, and like something that I see everywhere, but I didn't really investigate as much as I wanted to. Kind of knew what it is. And now it's like, wow, what a wonderful technology, and how this is going to replace all the mobile devs in the long term. I'm gonna open up the window real quick, but I've been feeling refreshed, definitely in that first 3 to 6 month honeymoon phase, and you never know what is going to happen. But at the end of the day, sometimes that's all you need, right? Sometimes you just need a breather. Sometimes you just need a way to unwind, to say, you know what, this all may be jacked up in a couple weeks, a couple months, but you know what, at least I felt good for 6 months, and that's going to keep me going for another 2 years. So, but my first week has been pretty fantastic. Different environment, still on a team that is shorthanded, trying to fill some roles, and it's been fun, man. It's just been a different thing. Sometimes different is good. That didn't help at all, did it? So, but I've been enjoying myself, and it has been a pleasure, and everyone's been really cool, really nice. I kind of keep to myself for the most part. I like to go to lunch alone because I like to take short lunches. I don't really have much to talk about. I handle emails. I I sometimes will come back to my computer and then just take care of some YouTube stuff, just work on things on my lunch. So sometimes people think I'm being antisocial, and that might hurt me a little bit, but I'm just trying to take care of what I need to do. But I feel pretty good. So that's been roughly my first week, which is, for the most part, I've worked a couple different dev jobs. I did 6, 7 pull requests, 6, 7 tickets in my first week, so I think I'm doing a pretty good job. Some of them I got a little bit of help with. I also started using a Mac. Dear God. Uh, so I've begun using a Mac at work, and like it has been throwing off my typing outside of work quite a bit. Um, yeah, that's the one thing that's taken me a little bit. I plan on taking a Udemy Mac course and just learning all the commands, but I will say there are some UI elements of it that are very nice, and there are just some sort of headaches as well with that, which with any operating system. But it's been fun. I've been enjoying it. But yeah, it's the thing is I'm not going to transition from my Windows. Like I have a $4,000 custom PC here on Windows. I've been using Windows for 30 years, but to a Mac. I yeah. All right, so would you hire a dev who can't type? I code with speech to text software. Um, I mean, I suppose if they had a good portfolio, that's all I would go about. It's definitely going to be a consideration. It's going to make the job harder. Um, I'm not going to say that you're not going to somehow, like in the general job market, have a harder time getting a job because I think I think, I think you are smart enough to realize that you will. Um, but you know, just keep moving forward, man. That's all I got. Is my new job giving you time to do Dev Mountain? So I've been slacking, man. I've been way behind. I'm trying to catch up. Um, I'm like 2 weeks behind, and like today, so immediately what I'm doing after today is, or after this live stream rather, is I'm going to spend about 4 to 8 hours just catching up, catching up, catching up. So it's been rough. Did I want to ask how much time it takes for a new website to gain good organic traffic from Google? I couldn't really tell you. What I would say though is consider social media, consider blog posts. Um, the best way to get traffic to your website is to get people to know about it. And so to get people to know about it, you have to create resources people are going to discover it through. So, do I like tequila or scotch? I don't drink hard alcohol. Not anymore. Not since I was um, a young stud, as they say. Um, I'll never drink hard. Ugh, fucking allergies. Ugh. But but yeah, nice courses. You're interested in the destruction of arrays and objects. Yeah, it's a great way to write clean code. And if you're interested in any of my courses, shameless plug, or books that I recommend, there's links in the description below where you could help me out. Um, your boy did just buy a house. He's trying to pay it off. Uh, shit's expensive. All right. um, After working a couple dev jobs, what do you think now? What do you look for now in a company when applying to new positions? You look more at culture, tech stack, or benefits. So, couple things. It first off, if we're just talking about me, I look for all of it. Um, that's the honest God truth. Um, my resume is good enough now, and my skill level is good enough now that I can be picky. So, the first thing that I say when a recruiter calls me or emails me or texts me, whatever it is, and say, hey, we got a role, I say, how much does it pay? Like that's that's the first thing. And so a lot of them will say, well, what are you looking for? And a lot of them will say, this is the rate. Um, and that's important because let's not waste each other's time. So I'm paid pretty well. Um, and so what that means is that most people, I'm out of their price range. So I eliminate about with that question alone, probably about 80%, I would say, of all inquiries. Um, so about 80% of jobs can't afford me. So okay, cool. We eliminate that, and the jobs that can, the jobs that say, here's our salary range, we pay well, typically have good benefits. So good benefits to me is a nice 401k, a good vacation, um, um, uh, good benefits in terms of like health, dental, fully paid is preferred. Um, you'll save $3 grand a year if they just fully pay instead of 75% your benefits. Um, maybe you get a week off around Christmas, 2 weeks off someplace, sometimes bonuses. That's good benefits to me. So, in terms of tech stack, absolutely crucial. The reason that you can get paid well is because most people don't know how to work in. You don't want to ever work in legacy if you can avoid it. Um, it's it's one of those items that you're gonna pigeonhole yourself, and it's 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 not a good look. So I always look for the latest and the greatest for tech stack. Culture, absolutely critical. And so culture, the workplace environment. So for me, I look at culture, a couple things. One, are the people I'll be working with actually qualified? Are they, in sense of, do I feel that at least the people I've interviewed with know more than I do? And that's not to say that I know everything, but there are plenty of candidates that know that I've interviewed with that know nothing, and that's okay. They've done very well to trick their superiors for quite some time. Um, so that's part of the culture as well. Is, are the devs people I want to work with? Are these people I could learn from? Are these people who can provide value to make me a better developer a year from now? Okay, excellent. And then there's the culture of, how is the environment? Um, what does Glassdoor have to say about it? Do people are people on Glassdoor, are the previous software developers leaving after 6 months because they're just turning through? They don't give a shit. This is your deadline. Deal with it. Figure it out. Hack it out. We don't care if it doesn't work very well. Just ship it. Is that the culture? Um, if that's the culture, then I would avoid it as well. Um, and I've turned down a few jobs where, like, yeah, where benefits are good, tech stack is good. Oh, by the way, I look online, it's got a 2 star on Glassdoor because people are saying how miserable they are. So, uh, you're a billionaire from India. How much money you want? I don't know. You can donate through through the super chat. Let's say, I don't want to be too greedy, Mr. Billionaire from India, but my house, I have a home loan. I owe about $236,000. That would be appreciated. That's all I need. I don't want to be too greedy. $236,000 to pay off my home. I'll take it from there. All right. um, where can I use NFE? What's NFE? I don't know what NFE is. Uh, there we go. Cool. What's legacy? Legacy. So you'll hear the term legacy and greenfield development. So legacy development is typically you're going to be working on an existing application that's using older technologies. So maybe you're working in PHP, but you're using like the Cake PHP framework instead of Laravel, which is pretty much the only one that still is being used nowadays. Or you're you're working in C++ on a old C++ application, and you know, so that's more so legacy. Greenfield development is you're typically building something from scratch, or you're working on new features, and you're not maintaining your building, and you're going to be working with newer technologies. Yeah. Do I know who Joshua Fluke is? I do. He does the I don't know that I'm actually subscribed to him, but I get recommended pretty much by every software channel. So, uh he, I believe, is the one who does those, like, watch me interview for $100,000 jobs and stuff like that. He yeah, this is him. Thank you. I just subscribed to him right now. Yeah, but he's been killing it. Um oh yeah, what did he say about me? Let's go see. I'm looking for the video. Dylan Israel. Handsome ass developer in the game. No, is that not it? But no, he seems like he's got the right idea. Look at this. He's quitting and making it on YouTube full time. Good for you, son. Hello, Dylan. I'm happy to tell you that I landed my first job in IT, particular software quality assurance. What would you recommend to learn in order to advance in the career path QA? So, what I would say is it sort of depends about what what uh, what type of quality assurance engineer you're going to be. Are you going to be a tester? A tester, I would define, and I think QA in general would define, as someone who is going to manually go through the application and write and just like click through. It's a manual testing process. So, okay, that's one thing, and that's going to be part of your process, right? That's going to be part of how you grow. But you're gonna have to do that. Then there's the quality assurance engineer, where you're gonna learn how to write test scripts. Where I'm not talking about like in terms of like Jira, in terms of organizing your tests, right? You're gonna have your test plan, you're gonna have your test suite, your test cases, all that sort of stuff. You're gonna have all that all together. But about learning how to use the tools and technologies to write automated tests against what it is that you're trying to test against. And so, like, when you start writing scripts to do automation, that would be the next direction. I would also highly recommend you take the time to go get an agile certification. I think it's one of the best things people can do in today's work environment. Any tips for working at Apple? No, I mean, really, it's the same tip I give for any job. Just understand your first your first 3 months. You just need to prep and ramp up if you're not familiar with any of the technologies. Did I do a whiteboard interview at my job? I don't want to talk too much about the interview process, but because every interview process is unique. But I had a text editor, and I built out some features in front of them. That was essentially my interview process. I'll be right back, guys. I gotta use the bathroom. Yo, did Mr. Billionaire, while I was away, donate $236,000 by chance? Anyone? uh, how similar is mobile development to front end development? It's not very similar. I mean, it's similar in the fact that you're building an application, but in the sense that, so here's an interesting thought. I actually am going to make a video about how I would advise against going into mobile development, just as I've done more and more research about progressive web apps and about what they're trying to accomplish and how they seem to be accomplishing that. I think what you're going to see is the I think what you're going to see is mobile app development sort of continuing a slow decline in the interest of progressive web apps. Question about making your brand. So what I would say is you have to define what that actually means for you. If you want to do freelancing, not sure I should market my skills. So I can just tell you that in general, start trying to become an expert, right? Start trying to be somebody that teaches, someone that throws theirself out there, someone that um is knowledgeable and shows it. Not just like, hey, I've been an engineer 5 years, but like, hey, I've been an engineer for 5 years. I've done contract work with these organizations. I've written 500 blogs. I have several courses. These are my certificate. Like, you're gonna have to ramp up your game, and you're gonna have to continually put out content. If that's how I would go about it, how I've gone about it. Tips on applying for other jobs while having a full-time job. Same tip as anything. Just apply daily. No, I think it's easier to get your first job as front end or back end developer. I would say full stack. So not that was an option. I think and so I think front end will probably be the. So if you're teaching yourself web development, you're definitely probably learning front end first. Um, so I think although there are so many, so here's the thing. I believe, and some people will disagree, and they're wrong, but I believe that front end development, due to the sheer amount of moving parts, due to the sheer amount of different layers, everything that's combined, and front end development's been one of those things that everyone has a different definition to a degree. Someone at my work essentially thought I was a UI UX person. By the way they were talking to me, and they didn't realize that they're two different jobs. But so anyhow, with that being said, I think although it's easier to get started in front end, I think a lot of people go to the back end because that's the logic. There's less moving parts. You can't really. There's no appearance aspect of it, like you deliver the model. So I think front end's easier to get started, but harder long term. So yeah. TypeScript is definitely worth learning. It's going to save you errors along the way, and it's not going to slow you down. A lot of people get crazy. Like, people like, I don't write tests because it slows me down. Listen, you write tests to speed you up. You use types and create models to speed you up. And the reason for this is your issue is not in how fast you can write code. Your issue is how fast you can debug code. So that's what slows you down. I can write 80% of my project, of my feature, in the first 10% of the time. But that last 20% takes 90% of the time because I need to make sure that everything works. I need to make sure that this connects to this under all edge cases. And to do that, testing helps to let me know, hey, I didn't break it. Types help me to know, hey, I'm actually connecting to something that exists. how to land freelance jobs with almost no portfolio. Just get a portfolio in the meantime, or go get an internship and don't freelance. How's the new job? It's going pretty well, man. Do I think dedicating front end alone would be a waste of your degree? I mean, no, but I would say you got to sort of understand what it is that you want to do. A lot of times people do things because it's the bet. Like they think what um it all just sort of it all sort of depends what it is that you want to do and then pursue it. So your degree is there to help you get your foot in the door, really, at the end of the day. Um, how do devs break to 120K other than with side stuff? Are there positions out there that have the potential to pay 150, 200? Yeah. Um, you could easily go. You could easily go and get paid 150, 170 to go work in New York. I get job offers all the time in that range. Um, or that would be in that range, I should say. Um, I've had one or two for about 150. But it also depends where you're at, right? You want to go work in SF, you can get a 150K job pretty easily. The highest offer I've got, and by the way, there's a difference between 100 and let's just say 120 as a contractor without any benefits, 120 as a full-time salaried developer with benefits. So um, you might, if you made 120 salary versus 120 contractor, it's probably closer. Let's just say your 120 salary is probably closer to like 150, 160 contractor if you were gonna even them out, because you have to make up for your benefits, which is, let's say, I want to say I paid, when they were covering 75% of my benefits, I paid like $2,500 a year. So we'll say that's 10 grand a year for benefits. You have to make up for taxes because you're not an employee, so you're paying twice as much in taxes. I think I paid close to $25,000 in taxes. So we'll say you double that, you're paying $50,000 in taxes. Maybe God, that's so high. I paid so much in taxes this year, guys. So um, so we'll take another 25K off the top. So now we're at 35K difference. And now your PTO. So let's say you get on average 2-3 weeks of PTO. That's about $500 a day. So what is that for a week? 2,500, 5,000, 7,500. So like we've basically made up 40, 50 grand, even though in theory you made 40 grand more as a contractor, you basically the equivalent making 120. So uh but are there positions out there 150, 120? Yeah, or 200? Yes. Is it hard to break the 120K barrier? Yes, that's slightly above where I'm at. And so I'll probably be there in a year, maybe two. But after that, I think really there isn't too many pay bumps I can get. I think it's going to be a steady, at least not in the Tampa market, a steady jump of maybe when I become a manager, but oftentimes managers make about 5 to 10K more than developers. Um, um, then you have, but if you want to make 150, 200, chances are in the developer space, you'll need to go into data science. So you'll need to learn that skill. You can make that as a data scientist. Um, Besides that, I think you're probably just going to have to move to a higher paying area, which in theory, you don't really get the benefit of it. So it's not worth it. Um, so it all just sort of depends. Is learning SAS mandatory, just the basics of it? I would say having a fundamental understanding of what CSS preprocessor languages offer is a good thing to have. So like if someone said, hey, why would you use SAS over CSS? You should be able to answer that question. You should be able to say something along the lines of, SAS has variables, and although CSS variables got added. They weren't always there. And then you say, the nesting aspect of SAS is another great thing to consider. It allows us to have much more specific selectors. It's, in my opinion, or more readable. It's definitely one of those things where um, where you can use mixins as well. And a great example of a mixin that I wrote was something to handle an issue with CSS Grid, where in this use case, when it is an older version of Edge, we use a mixin so that we can handle those things. Hey, baby. You want to come say hi or something? Neighbor's just creeping in through the... Gator! You guys want to see how big my dog's got? Oh, come here, big boy. Come here. Oh! Oh! Huh, he's stacking those gains, huh? Hey, no, don't chew on that. Yeah. His brown in his face is definitely... I swear to you, he's about twice the size since I think I showed you guys him 2 weeks ago. But yeah, so he's been stacking those gains. I don't know how with the amount that he poops. Yeah. But hey, no biting. But yeah, so I'm telling you, guys, go back and look at him 2 weeks ago in the video. He's twice as much. Oh, huh? Huh? He's stacking those gains, huh? Just like your daddy, stacking the gains. Your cats must be thrilled. Yeah, it's a transition process. 2 of them are doing pretty good. The other one not so much. He's
yeah. So Gator just actually chased Achilles all the way around the house, and you put him back inside, so I gave him a reward.
Yeah. Yeah. So he rounds the cats up now when they run outside. Yeah. How many projects constitute a good portfolio? What level of complexity should your portfolio projects be for a junior job? So it really could just be one project. It's not really an amount of projects. I always tell people to build like a CRUD application and a personal portfolio, because at the very least, that's going to expose you to a lot of concepts that you want. If you want to build something more intense that you can wow people with, a good progressive web app would be something that would really intrigue people. Utilizing things like the HTML5 APIs for geolocation history, those sorts of things are always good to throw in there, if not for your own sake, just for employers. But yeah, just one good project. Well, the one good project for me, really, at the end of the day, has been my YouTube channel. So it's led to a lot of other good projects, but all right, he pees on my rug in here all the time, so I'm kind of paranoid about it. Stop biting, no biting. Little wild pup. But yeah, what's your opinion on dev management in terms of pushing 200K outside of New York and California? So, I mean, there's certain areas like Seattle, so here's the thing: there's high-paying areas that will pay you slightly higher, but they're not worth it. So, like, for me to get an equivalent salary in like Seattle, I need like 180, 190. I forget what it was when I looked it up, but it was it was a significant bump up in pay. So what I would tell you is, don't always be worried about the sheer amount of number. You can make 6 figures pretty much in any state that you want, for the most part. But look more so for where you're going to get the largest actual money, where your cost of living is going to be lowest. And so, is it worth it to make 200K in New York, or is it better to make 130K in Tampa? Those are sorts of what you need to do. And I can tell you that you go and look at the numbers that support these, you'll see that the 130, you're actually going to have more money in your pocket. And so, yeah, yeah. And so, like, not only do you get tax higher, which is fine because you're making more money, but you factor all in the state tax, factor in the housing price, um, whether you're renting or buying. Probably not buying in New York for the most part. Yeah. So, how often do you use Photoshop? Never. So,
What do you use?
I don't use it. I don't design. I'm not a designer.
No, but when you do it, haven't you done some design for like YouTube and all that?
So I've done mock-ups, which are not the same thing.
Okay, so maybe that's what they're.
Yeah, so like if I had to build wireframes or mock-ups to demonstrate an idea, what I've used in the past is balsamic. So like, hey, this is what I'm thinking. This is a general structure. Cool. Did he bite you? Spank him. He can't bite.
No.
He doesn't bite me because I'm the alpha. Hey, I saw that. He's still being trained. We're taking him to doggy training tomorrow. So. For the most part, he's a good dog. He doesn't realize that he can break our skin with his bites. All right, baby. I think it's time for you to go. I love you. Okay. Would people be wowed if I incorporate AI text recognition into an application? I think it would be. I think that'd be pretty cool. Yeah, integrate a third-party API is always cool as well, because I mean that's some real hands-on stuff that you're probably gonna have to do. Speaking of which, now that April just left, it reminded me. Is it advisable to get a front-end job first or continue learning for full stack? As I'm not loving CSS. No one really loves CSS. So what I would say is that it's okay, but honestly, I think your experience is better than anything else. So get that experience, and from there, worry about getting better. How do devs secure their site and web applications? Well, they usually have SSL certificates that help with that, and their web apps. So like your web apps, as you grow larger, will have server side, and so like tackling and breaking into the server is much harder than the front end, right? That's why you don't do client side validation. Um, oh. Best way to get internships for self-taught developers. Same way for all developers. Have a good resume, a good LinkedIn, a good portfolio. Apply. That's it. Network. Go to meetups. Same way you do it if you're not self-taught. How often do you watch and learn from other YouTubers? Pretty regularly. So I, although I can do full stack, I'm primarily front end. My last role is front end. My current role is front end. My previous role before those two were full stack. But I consider myself a front end dev. How often do I watch and learn from other YouTubers? Regularly. It depends on what's going on in my life, but for a while I was doing a lot of those. Like Traversy Media. Brad does his little projects. We're like, hey, we want to build a parallax scroll fit. It's like, yo, let's check that out. Any UK YouTubers I'd recommend? Yeah, if you're interested in PHP, they're, I want to say, oh, a second. What is that sound? Oh, it's a truck. Turn that down a little bit, baby. Thank you. But yeah, so I like his projects. I was just the other day, like, okay, cool, I'm working in Vue. Let me go watch a refresher course. You know, that's that. If I could do it all over again, would I go to boot camp or self-teach? If I could do it all over again, I would immediately never have gone to college. I would study, let's say from about high school of 18 to about 25, I was in college. And maybe 26. And I don't have a degree. I have so many units completed, and I was miserable for a very long time. So what I would say is, knowing what I know now, is I would take in a year off, study software engineering, and then I would go to a boot camp, and then I would get a job. That's what I would do. FinTech got a nice job offer. Nice for him, man. Wasn't he one of the ones that says he was going to donate his first paycheck? Wasn't that Wasn't that FinTech? FinTech hooked me up. When do I think you should apply? So I would say apply whenever you feel like you're ready. There are internships that will take you, that'll pay minimum wage that I think is worth your time if you can ramp up. Where's the end in the world of programming? When probably the computers take over. That is my honest answer. So not for any time soon. Is there any reason to get a master's or MBA in the dev space? I mean, there's always reasons. So like certain companies will only hire you if you have it. You'll interview better. You'll probably be more likely to move up in management. We must be getting a lot of trolls today, man. Do you have to secure a front end site? Yeah, you should. As a matter of fact, a lot of your applications won't work unless, like, you can't use the location finder without a secured site. HTML5 geolocation. You can't use a progressive web app without a secure site. So why would you pay for a boot camp if you could study 1 year on your own? Wouldn't you learn the same? Not necessarily. So boot camp's going to be teaching you. So you don't go to a boot camp to learn to code. You go to learn how to become a developer. You go to learn how to write production level code. There's like hobby code and then there's professional code. And I would say probably, I don't know this for sure, but I think what they do is they probably take you from hobby to junior, and then it's up to you to go from junior to senior. So if that makes any sense. And so you go in there to learn about the industry. You go in there to maybe get a little certificate. You go in there, build some portfolio projects. You go in there to learn some additional technologies, as well as get a little bit of help for interviewing and resume process. So you can make that argument, and it's a fine one. But that would be what I would do if knowing what I know now. Can I talk about some of the technologies on my new job? I don't think they would appreciate that. Would I ever review Udemy courses or recommend some? I mean, I could, but you have like, I mean, how many of you guys are subscribed to YouTube channels already that are doing that? Like, I'm subscribed to the same ones, and I have 3 or 4 videos a week coming out from 3 or 4 different channels reviewing these courses that at the end of the day they're just trying to gain a little bit of affiliate money. And I ain't hating on them for it. I got, bless them, do their thing. But do we need another one of those out on the internet? Do you guys really need me to tell you that, Maximilian's got the #1 Angular course out there and that you should be buying it? And have I ever been into game design? Not really. I built a game in Python back in the day. And an RPG Maker on the PlayStation way back in the day. RPG Maker 1, son. The OG. Would I give any advice? My advice would be to stay away from the game industry unless you're going to work for yourself. That would be my advice. I don't have any good recommendations for a online bootcamp. I can tell you that Dev Mountain, who in fairness I'm sponsored by, includes housing with their tuition so that you can get up and go and get started. And they are one of the more affordable boot camps out there. And you can dedicate yourself 100% to it. What up, Code Poppy? That what up reminded me of something. Message someone real quick. When is one ready to start applying? When they're ready to start working. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt to apply early. Just give yourself an hour a day to fill out applications, and still give yourself 3 hours a day to learn, and you'll be fine. But just keep that in mind. But all right, guys. Any last questions before we wrap up here? It has been fun. It has been a pleasure, as it always is. And I need to, although I'm exhausted, I need to play. I'm not really exhausted, but what I would like to have spent if I wasn't in the coding bootcamp. You know what I wanted to do this weekend? Play Kingdom Hearts 3. That's what I want. I've been waiting a decade for Kingdom Hearts 3 to come out. I want to play Kingdom Hearts 3. That's what I would be doing this weekend. But um opportunity came knocking for doing the QA bootcamp, and I need to do that because I'm a goddamn adult, and I and I need to do what's best for me. So that is what I'll be doing today and tomorrow, catching up on that and going from there. But yes, I would say it's common. I don't know that it's. I've never heard anyone saying it's badly seen in this year. I would say it's pretty common. But with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to check out my courses in the description below. And as always, I appreciate you. Don't forget to like, comment, hit that notification bell. Look forward to Monday's video where every Monday we release a video. And when I'm done with this boot camp, I'm gonna go back to 2, 3 videos a week. I have a lot of stuff I want to talk about, and a lot of tutorials I want to put out. So gotta finish up this boot camp, and then we're back to it, son. I need to be putting out more videos than I am, but it happens. These things come in waves. Life is a journey of onions or some shit like that. All right, so I'll see you guys next time. Bye.